Hi, Lisa. Here. I have one person watching. That's awesome. Two people watching. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's my second live stream. Turn the volume just a click. So today, we are going to make some shortbread cookies and do a live Q&A. And these are not just any shortbread cookies. This is a battered and worn recipe soaked in vanilla and smarm at some point, I imagine. And Billy Joe's writing. And
yep,
that's why I'm wearing my glasses. Right? Let me get the butter going first. What we got here? A cup of butter. And that's going to be 2.5 sticks. Ish. Medium to low heat. This is for you, Matt Dillon. Soften your butter first. Don't microwave your butter. You don't want to nuke it. There we go. Dried ingredients next, eh? Three-quarters of a cup powdered sugar. Let me tell you about this gal I know who's a messy cook. There you go. Right on the spot, 3/4 of a cup. And don't worry, guys. This is not the only thing we're going to do tonight. 2.5 cups of flour. Uno. Dos. And the Spanish between 1 and 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that. 2.5. Did I ever tell you how much fun I have going live? This is my second time. And I have 6 people watching.
Right, with 2-seaters, old camp, wrenches and boards.
Wrenches and boards. All right, wrenches and boards. I am glad you're here. I was going to give you a shout out.
Right.
Go visit Wrenches and Boards. He has a very small channel. Oh, let me grab my secret weapon. Oh Lord. This is the brand new Milwaukee 18-volt mixer with the authentic basswood spoon. Never used, it's brand new. See? Whoa. Whoa. Is that a teaspoon or a tablespoon, Billy Joe? Of vanilla?
Teaspoon beer.
Teaspoon. That's the big one or the little one?
That's a little one. It don't hurt to add a little bit extra though.
Okay. This is Baker's imitation vanilla flavoring, but one time Billy Joe had a friend and brought some real vanilla and from Mexico. I think he went through customs, everything's legal, legit, came through. I don't know how he got it over, but there is certainly a difference. If you ever have the chance to get real vanilla, oh my gosh. Did I just say oh my gosh too much? Is that too emphatic or something?
Big breath, dude.
Ooh-wee.
Buddy Rogers here.
Oh, Roger. He's a brand new subscriber.
That's right.
Oh. Softening our butter. So anyway, wrenches and boards. Jeremy's guy's name. Brand new channel. I subscribed to him, probably about a week ago, and he was sent over from not River Mountain Homestead, but maybe Almost Homestead, or I'm not sure exactly what channel I saw them on, but he recommended wrenches and boards. And I'll tell you what a great channel. He does a video on Fridays called Motivation Fridays, and I watched my first Motivation Friday just yesterday, and I just give you a shout out, Jeremy. What a great job. I'll be here every Friday, and I hope everybody watches your content too. Something about small YouTube channels, we can support each other, and we can learn a lot from each other. Now, I hope everybody likes shortbread cookies, and I hope you can learn something from me making shortbread cookies. This is actually more for comedic effect, and why I want to tell you why I make cookies. So,
Say hello to your sister.
hi sister, Lisa. I recommend low speed on the Milwaukee drill to mix your dry ingredients, because you really don't want to make a mess. And my theory with that is, why would I bust out the mixer with the two beater thingies when I can use a drill and only dirty one spoon? So that's proactive living.
Put the flour out the way. There you go. There you go. Ooh, that's better. Now you can see the lovely green glow from the mixer.
You like the lovely green glow from the mixer? Awesome, right? I also wanted to give a shout out to one of my favorite peoples, Two Cedars Micro Farms, and Dave and Darcy. They're really great people. They had, if you're not following them, their sow, Charlotte, was sick about a week or two ago, and they were giving her some electrolytes, and they knew she was pregnant. She was a big old girl. But I actually got to experience my first, well, video live birth. I've never seen anything born before like that, except for my sons. But Charlotte had 14 piglets, and that was just fantastic. And I watched that whole video. You should go check out Two Cedars Micro Farm and watch those videos if you're interested in that. They also just yesterday or day before mentioned that one of their goats was mated up with, I guess you'd say, a ram. Would that be correct? I'm not sure. So they gave a projected date of when she's gonna have her kids, correctly? Would that be right? And that's going to also be interesting. So as I follow along those guys, oh yeah, I'm still softening butter.
Yep.
Preheat the oven to 350, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Two Cedars says, thanks for the help you've been giving them. Old Camp is also with us.
All right, old Camp.
And they're digging the mixer.
They're digging the mixer. That's more for comedic effect too.
Maybe it works.
How you doing, old Camp? I received a package in the mail. It must have came on Friday, but this morning I saw it on my end table here. And I opened it up in front of Billy Joe, and it was from Old Camp Ranch. And I've got this fantastic looking, rustic, handmade birdhouse. And it is way too nice to go outside, so I am going to put it in my shop on my backdrop wall with some of the other handmade crafts and things that I have. I just wanted to say, hey, Old Camp, that is just absolutely awesome. I love it. He's been responding to our Facebook page, messaging back and forth, and he said that he picked this up with wood that he found on the side of the road. He's had it for about 4 years. He's pre-drilled every nail. It just looks absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I could replicate that with any barn wood or any stuff that I have, but I probably won't even try. That's just fantastic.
Little Creek has just joined us. Little Creek Homestead.
Oh, Little Creek Homestead. All right. So now that our butter is melted,
Just burn it.
what I like to do is brown the butter.
Right. Brown it, don't burn it.
Brown it, don't burn
Don't
it.
burn it. Talk some more about why you make cookies.
Why I make cookies.
Yep.
Well, if you have watched our trailer video, I had mentioned in there that I am a alcoholic in active recovery. I am 2 years, 3 months, and 3 days sober today. I got out of a long-term residential treatment center a little over 2 years ago, around 2 years ago, and I was craving sweets, of course. Alcohol is metabolized with sugar, and that's very common that alcoholics crave sweets. So I never had much of a sweet tooth, and it was a good way to occupy some time. So I decided to make cookies, and I needed some sweets. It's kind of threefold in a way. I got to warm up the house. It was pretty cold that winter. I got cookies, and I called it therapy for me. It took me away. It gave me that extra hour of taking my mind off the world, taking my mind off what was clouding my head, taking my mind off alcohol, taking my mind off the turmoil and the destruction that I had caused in my life previously. Because a lot of us think about the shame and the guilt, and we have remorse and all that. So it was a good way for me to funnel that into a positive manner. And everybody likes cookies, I think. Everybody. You're going to notice your butter kind of foaming up. Starts to turn a little more yellow. Let's do a kind of an active stir. Brown, not burnt. What else do we have going on there?
Let's see what we got. Everybody's just very, very. Two-seater says, I told Ms. D that she did not need that KitchenAid. You just made my point. Right?
Two-seater, yes, absolutely. I would love to have a KitchenAid. We would love to have a KitchenAid because they're so versatile. But KitchenAid.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are sticking with me tonight. It was very fun doing a live stream. You get to see a little bit of
Hey, there's Cookie Puff.
a little bit of just real people. And I enjoy all of my subscribers. A big reason why I subscribe to the channels that I do and we do is we're real people. We're normal. We get to learn from each other. We get a tidbit of their life. Maybe a little bit of living vicariously through another person. But we get to experience whatever other people experience. And we live at the end of the road. I don't get out very much. We have a small town down the road, and it's good to interact. You actually grow friendships and relationships with subscribers. I love the feedback, love the comments, love the ideas people give me.
River Mountain Homestead joined us.
All right.
And your sister asked, how's the weather?
We are almost to our browning state. Thanks for joining us, River Mountain Homestead. I enjoyed your live earlier today. Lisa, my sister, she's asking about the weather. Actually, we've had a lot of melting. Last week was great. It was 40, 45, almost 50 some days. And boom, then we just got a little snowstorm and dumped 6 inches on us just yesterday. But as of today, we've got a lot of melting. I'm going to post a couple pictures of our pond. Our pond is actually filled up pretty good now, so we don't really have a water problem at this point. All we got to do is we got to make sure we can harvest that water, because the road into our house now is horrendous. It's mud and ruts and mud and ruts, and it's really not a road, and it's 4 miles. So I don't want to pull the water trailer into town to get water yet, so we're still on our creative harvesting of water, melting snow and such, for our water supply. And don't worry, Lisa, I don't drink the yellow snow or eat the yellow snow. So it's just purely for showering, doing the dishes, stuff like that.
How's your butter?
I just wanted to say, hey, River Mountain Homestead, you have a beautiful piece of country out there, Arkansas. I drove a big truck over the road for a while, and I visited a lot of areas, and Missouri and Arkansas is just absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to name every state that's just beautiful, but each state has its own little beauty. I'm originally from Michigan, and I miss the trees and the water, but it's really fantastic, and I gain a huge appreciation for the skyscape in Wyoming. When you say you can see for miles, literally you can see for miles, not just a couple miles. Like Devil's Tower National Monument is about 35 miles north of us, and we can see it from our place. Sundance Mountain is east of us, about 30 miles, and we can see it. So literally you can see for miles. I think we were about around.
Boy.
Your butter's gonna get a little golden.
Hey. Tell them I browned the butter.
Tell them I browned the butter. Well, actually, it was a mistake at first. We didn't have enough butter. We hadn't melted enough butter. Billy Joe and I were making cookies one time, and she threw another half stick of butter, and it got a little brown. But then we threw it together. Can you still hear me? Let me finish mixing this, and I'll tell you why I browned butter. I don't want to mess up the audio on the video. Audio on the video. This is just the funnest thing in the world. It just makes me smile. It's great for therapy. Not that I need therapy, like actual therapy. But it's great. Leave me comments in the, later this week or next week when you watch this video again, or one of you happens to break out your cordless drill for your wife when you make cookies, guys. I think it'd be fantastic if I find out that somebody else breaks out their cordless drill, because this is just fun. cookie batter will get to a consistency about like that. And next step is grab cookie sheet. And we just press that in the mash, eh, Billy Joe, right?
Yeah, you can just press it right on there and you spray it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Might as well. I think it's up there in the corner. Hiding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, why'd you brown the butter?
I browned the butter, again, because it was a mistake. Second of all, it gives it kind of a toasty or
Cooked
kind of cooked feeling
instead of raw flour.
instead of just raw flour. So, you can do this another way. You can roll this into balls, make actual shortbread cookies. But when I grew up, Mom used to make shortbread cookies and she put them in a pan like this. So I'm just still going that route sometimes. Spread that out till it's, a quarter-inch thick or so. Probably don't really want it too thin. You do want it uniform.
Old Camp says he likes
I'm sorry, what?
it. Old Camp says, I like seeing real people do real life. I like these guys a lot.
Old Camp says he likes. Oh yeah, well, all you guys can see what Old Camp says. Real people doing real life.
Lisa
Yep.
says, Mom used to prick them with a fork.
Prick them with a fork. That's what I'm going to do, Lisa. Real people doing real life. Once I throw these in the oven, they'll bake for about 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And you guys are more than welcome to throw out some questions.
Yes.
Anything you want to ask. Disclaimer, I am not an expert. Do not try what I do. And I don't want any ramifications of your messed up shortbread cookies. And Kevin at Hope This Works told us to do it.
Your results may vary.
Your results may vary.
Get to the Farm CZ says, hey, y'all love the channel trailer.
I'm sorry, what?
Get to the Farm CZ. C to Z? CZ.
Oh, yeah.
Says, hey, y'all love the channel trailer.
Thank you very much. Get to the Farm CZ. That channel trailer actually went really quick. A lot of times when I'm filming clips or doing clips for videos, I have a lot of moments that I say, oh darn, that's not going to work. So I multiple takes. And when we did that the other evening, we didn't really rehearse it. We had what we wanted to say, pretty much, and we just went for it, and it worked out fantastic. So, thank you very much. We wanted to be able to put out a short, quality trailer, give you guys a little tidbit of who we are, what we do. I'm licking a spoon. It's good therapy. Anybody?
My next question is,
Billy Joe has a question.
yeah. What's your why? What's your why for resourceful homesteading?
What is, or Billy Joe's question is, what is my why for resourceful homesteading? Yeah, that's a good question. We have to, anything we choose to do, whether it's picking certain jobs, picking certain vegetables we're going to grow, picking certain directions in our lives, we have to have a why. But for us to do it good and what's the word I'm looking for? For us to do it good and succeed at that task or that objective,
Get through the hard parts.
to get through the hard parts, we have to have a pretty strong why. Why are we doing it? That why has to be connected to our hearts. That why has to be in us. So my why, or our why, was a lot of based on necessity, based on the materials we had. Our why for resourceful homesteading is, like my dad always used to say, use what you got, not what you ain't. So I had to look around when I got out of residential treatment. I had to look around with the materials that I had, the resources that I had. The house needed repairs. We needed fence. We needed a place for a critter animal, a food critter, Napoleon, our pig. I had to build a coop. I had pallets. That was a resource. I had some metal roofing. Nothing that I bought at the Home Depot. It's what we had laying around. My wood shop is built nearly all out of pallets. The walls are pallets. And actually, kind of funny story with that, I strategically built one wall out of really good pallets because I'm going to remove that wall when I build an addition. Probably not this spring or summer. Maybe I get to it, or I don't know. But I'm going to salvage those pallets for another project. So I'm a woodworker. That was a strong why. I wanted to be able to make a couple dollars selling some wood crafts and things like that. That's a labor of love. Resourceful homesteading. I needed to be able to use what I had. I work for a small construction company here in town, but I don't get a lot of work. I don't work 40 hours. I physically can't work 40 hours. We don't get any outside subsidies, and we needed to be able to use what we had. We heat with wood. We salvage everything that we can salvage, and that's my why. It's also fun. It's also, I have a brain that allows me to create things. I am creative, and I like to take two different things and see what I can do with it, and see what I can make, see what I can join together. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction and pride.
Okay. Little Creek Homestead says, do you have any advice for a new homesteader or someone who is thinking about homesteading?
Oh boy. Billy Joe and I just talked about this a little while ago in some fashion. When you start off on a project or an endeavor, if you wait to know everything about it, you'll never start it. You have to, sometimes you got to just jump in. You got to go head first. Advice for new homesteaders, based on your geography, based on your finances, variables can be all over the board. Try to strategically plan your resources, look at what you have, look at what you can spend, look at geographically on what you're going to need, and do a little more research on that. Winters are always harder than what we plan. Summers are always hotter than what we plan. There's always a possibility of running out of water. Even if you have a well, there's a possibility. There's a possibility we don't have electricity. So try try and do the research and try to build some systems that work together. Growing your own food. If you're living in an apartment, start with some seedlings, grow some tomato plants, grow some lettuce, grow some basil, grow some thyme, and try to rotate those crops and see what you can do, see what you can learn from there before you try to just jump out into a homestead and try to feed yourself.
Right. So do you think that you have to know everything about everything before you homestead, though?
No, absolutely not. You do not have to know everything about everything. And that is why YouTube and the homesteading community is absolutely fantastic, because we can learn from each person. I've never seen a sow give birth, and I learned something from 2 Sears Microfarm. You learn about some shortbread cookies. I watched a video earlier today, and I learned about metal foundries a little more. You don't need to know everything about everything. Use your resources.
Old Camp Ranch asked if that includes a Suzuki.
Old Camp Ranch is a great guy, and so many comments on our videos that we post. There's always a Suzuki engine involved. Now, I don't particularly own a Suzuki engine, but I do have a motorcycle engine in the shop that I am connecting to something. So you be patient, Old Camp.
Wrenches and Boards agrees. When they lived in an apartment, they grew tomatoes and peppers in 5-gallon buckets.
Yep. Wrenches and Boards had just mentioned in his Motivational Friday video about there's hundreds of ways to grow tomato plants. You can grow them in the topsy-turvy thing. You can grow them in a 5-gallon bucket. You can grow them on your shelf in your windowsill in an apartment. You can just let them go wild and go across the ground. You don't have to have tomato cages. So yes, absolutely, Wrenches and Boards. Hundreds of ways to do that. And got another question there? Nope. Awesome. Here's one.
Sister's allergic to tomatoes.
Oh, bummer. I'm actually,
Sort of.
I was tested for allergies years ago, and I am allergic to tomatoes too, but it's more of a kind of a diet control thing at this point. I can't have 2 plates of spaghetti. I should only have 1 plate of spaghetti.
Get to the Farm says don't try to do everything at once.
Nope.
Start small and add one thing each season, summer, winter.
Yep.
It's good advice.
That's an excellent comment. Trying to do everything at once, we can lose our balance. In balance, I mean we may not focus equally across the board on what our priorities are. We may lose sense of our priorities. We may neglect certain things. We may forget about certain things, and we may not see problems arising. So start small is more good advice, and learn from there. You'll seem to gain new ideas every time that you grab another task.
Yeah, it says you get burnt out.
Yep.
Yep. Let's see what else we got here. Old Camp says, don't listen to me. I'm not an expert on anything.
That's awesome, Old Camp. Old Camp has this big sign. This big old board that he, in the last couple of videos, he has red paint on there and he painted disclaimer. And Old Camp carries his board around in the front of his video, in the beginning of his videos. Disclaimer. That's awesome.
Little Creek Homestead says you have to play with gardening and find the best way that works for you. And Get to the Farm says, yeah. And even if you just garden across the street, it'll be totally different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
differences in soil,
Yeah.
differences in moisture content in your soil. Was it Homegrown Country Homestead, or I'm not really sure. It was a channel I was watching the other night when Two Cedars was live, and they said they're growing rocks. And I commented, growing rocks? But he says every time that they till and cultivate their land, these new rocks are popping up. They just keep coming up. Now it's interesting how that land and that geography and that geology actually work at that point. We don't have a rock one on our property. We don't have a tree one on our property. We got, oh,
Yeah.
So-
When's the best time to plant a tree?
when is the best time to plant a tree? Well, best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
What's the second best time to plant a tree? Right now. So, go to your local Arbor Day Foundation, look them up on the internet, go to your local nurseries, buy some bare root trees, buy anything you can. Plant some trees.
Ripsons on board wants to know, what is the hardest food you have tried to grow?
Oh, actually, watermelons are a struggle for me for some reason. Last year we did pretty good. They didn't get gigantic. We had a couple fair ones, smaller than the basketball, maybe volleyball size, but not the yield that I think we wanted. And but I think watermelons in the past, actually corn would be second on that list. Also sweet corn. So there's a trick to some sweet corn. But Billy Joe does a lot of our research on the vegetables and the animals and stuff like that. And I guess sweet corn, it's really good to plant a lot of it, because when they germinate themselves, and if you plant them in rows next to each other, like when the wind blows, the pistils, I think it's called pistils, will germinate the next row over. So pistils and flowers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how it works. But that's the way they germinate. So if you just have one really long row of corn, they're not going to germinate and grow your fruit.
Yeah. Get to the Farm says, yeah, corn and melons are butter for them too. Mile up in Montana Rockies, the greenhouse doesn't even help. And the growing season in Wyoming is just short.
Yeah, we have a pretty short growing season here in Wyoming.
Okay. They say corn in a block is best for pollination. There we go. And Old Camp says, oh boy. Check out our cookies.
We're going to check on our cookies. I heard a ding-a-dingy. I'm glad you're all sticking around for cookies.
Almost.
We'll give them about a minute.
So, Old Camp says surface water should be considered for a homestead.
Yes, absolutely. Good point, Old Camp. Speaking of surface water, when you drill a well, man, you can go hundreds of feet to get really good groundwater or drinking water. But we drilled a garden well. That's what I call a garden well, which is basically a shallow well. A shallow well is considered anything less than about 20 feet. I think our hound dog is rolling over on the floor. He's awful close to the tripod, so hang on, guys. Hang on. The tripod might fall.
It might. Okay, are you done, dude?
We call him Old Bones. He's an old hound dog. Anyway, surface water is good. So we drilled a garden well, and we hit water at 9 feet. So I have a video on that, and we're going to be working on that project again as soon as the ground thaws. I'm going to go a little bit deeper, and I think I'm actually going to drill a second one really close to our garden. and do some good storage containers. You always want to have water. If you want to grow anything, you need water. That's old bones.
That's right. See your wrenches and board says the smell. Good.
Hi.
Apparently he has smell-o-vision.
You have smell-o-vision, wrenches and boards.
They do smell good.
Mm. Oh, yeah, Ben.
Smells like cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Mmm.
Nice and golden.
Mmm.
Pretty sure they're good.
It's hot, probably. And he wants cookies, by the way.
Well, just,
You got his address, he says. Old Camp. There, Old Camp wants cookies.
Old Camp wants cookies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do have your address, Old Camp. I'll send you a bag of cookies.
Right on.
I prefer with shortbread cookies in this style.
Yeah.
Cut them when they're hot. Then they don't crumble and break apart when they're cool when you try to cut them. If you cut them in small pieces, you get more cookies. All right. I appreciate everybody joining us tonight. This was very fun. We've been on here almost an hour. We still have 5 people hanging on with us. That's awesome. We are going to the live chat comments will be available in a video as soon as the video is processed. If you want to, go ahead and comment on this video if you watched again. Leave comments and questions, anything you may think of in the comments after this video is published. I'll be happy to answer those.
I'll post the recipe in the comments.
And she's going to post the recipe in the comments too.
Lisa says it was fun. Get to the Farm says, bye. I'm doing a live stream tomorrow at 2 Mountain Time.
All right.
They play a hangman type game while they chat. That'll be fun.
Okay. We're
Old games.
there.
I love games. Yeah. Old Camps. Love you guys. Big heart.
Love you too, Old Camp.
That's right.
Share us with your friends. If you found this entertaining, enjoyable. Don't forget to click that bell for all the notifications. What we are here to do is educate, inspire, and maybe some entertainment too. And along the, I might get on the pigtails of Wrenches and Boards. He does Motivation Fridays. I'm thinking maybe Storytime Saturdays. Let me know in the comments what you think. Because I've got all kinds of stories to tell.
It's true, he does. Not all of them are lies either.
Not all of them are lies either. So let me know what you think. Storytime Saturday.
Sounds good.
And also in the comments, let me know what you want to see on our channel. What do you think about our content? And again, thank you very much for joining us. And have a blessed Saturday and a blessed weekend. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.